Hey guys, welcome back to another SJ Games Live. I'm Hunter, and I'm here to do another deck check for the Munchkin collectible card game. If you remember last week or a couple weeks ago before Gamma, we did one with Jimmy from IT who did his Bard deck, and today it's me by myself, so I'm going to be looking at my Wizard deck for our league. Before I got started with this though, I wanted to let everybody know we just posted all the event page information for our Day of Reckoning event that's coming up at the beginning of April. I have a link to that in the description below. You can find that in the Daily Illuminator, and it'll be on the CCG site pretty soon as well. It's a list of all the stores that are involved. These are going to be a new event type. It's got the promos from the first events that we've been running, but it's also added a few new things like these oversized full art heroes. I'll give you guys a close-up of that in a second. And some other cool stuff like a poker chip runaway token that there's only one per kit, so it's a little bit harder to get, but a lot of other cool things and tons of events running around the country, so check that list out, find one near you. Also want to make a note that we have PAX East coming up. That's in a couple weeks as well. I think it's the same weekend as the Day of Reckoning. We'll be running events there. There's actually going to be a constructed tournament there on site. It's going to be 32 players max, so if you want to sign up for that, make sure you're at PAX East and sign up at the Tabletop HQ area. That will be on site at PAX. You can't sign up ahead of time. That's just not how their events work. And the prizes there are going to be similar. We're going to have these oversized heroes, a lot of other cool swag. We'll have information about that on tomorrow's Daily Illuminator. We also have a new Munchkin CCG database, or we don't have. The fans have made one. It's called the Munchkin CCG Data Bass, or Munchkin CCG DB. You can find that. Again, I linked that in the description below. You can build decks there. Customize or organize your collection, things like that. It's a really cool little tool made by the fans for the fans. So we're not officially involved with it, just wanted to promote that. It's a pretty cool little tool if you want to check that out. But let's get into the deck itself. So before I got into my deck though, I wanted to give a real quick close-up. So these are all chart heroes that we're going to be using for the Day of Reckoning kits. There's one for each class. I'll show them as well. We're also going to be giving these away as Beat the Staffers at PAX tournaments, or not tournaments, at PAX itself. If you come by our booth, if we are free at the moment, we can play you, and if you beat us, we'll give you one of these promos of your choice. While supplies last, of course. They're really cool. I love those things. But let's move on to the deck. So, I am the Human Wizard. This is the deck that I'm using in our league. We're going to have our league championship coming up next week, and this is my current build. It's changed a couple times throughout the league, but this is kind of where I'm at right now. Obviously, the Human Wizard here. His ability is to make Mischiefs cheaper. So we're going to start off with the Mischiefs. So right up top here, we've got Kaboom. I've got 3 copies of Kaboom. Kaboom is important. Kaboom is kind of your finisher. It's what the deck's kind of built around here. You're making your Kabooms cost 4 at least, so you have a cheaper access to 5 damage. It does 5 damage to any target. It could be a monster as well. You don't do it to monsters as much, but every now and then something really big is going to hit you in the face and you got to do it. But yeah, Kaboom is your big finisher. It's how you finish most games. It's how you do most of your damage usually, because I'm usually doing 10 to 15 damage via Kaboom per game. So that's probably the most important card of the deck. We've got Reign of Death. We're going to go through... Despite actually having the ability to make Mischiefs cheaper, I don't have a ton of Mischiefs. The ones I have are Kaboom, Reign of Death, and Zorch. And these go into removal. Reign of Death does 1 damage to all heroes, allies, and stashed monsters. The heroes thing is okay, but it does damage to both you and your opponent. More importantly, though, are allies and stashed monsters, specifically stashed monsters. You'll have a lot of really fast decks using cheap monsters. That's something or at least in our league, we have a few decks that are running around like that. So this lets me get rid of them once they go to the stash. I'll still get hit in the face by some monsters, but then it'll take a few of them out while, maybe 2 to 3 monsters get taken out by that. That's really good value for only 2 gold. And then Zorch is just 1 gold, deal 2 damage to target ally or monster. It's just targeted removal. So those are my Mischiefs. Let's go into the monsters. So monster-wise, I've got Lame Goblins. Lame Goblins, just cheap damage. They do hurt you. That is one downside to them. But they're 0 for 2 damage, 1 health, or 1 life, so that's really good. If your opponent lets them get through, that's just free damage for us. We got Used Card Dealer. It's cost 0, but it technically for me is almost always 1. Used card dealer is cost 0. It does if you overpaid for it, you may move 1 card from your graveyard pile to your hand. So where that comes into play a lot of the time is getting back Kabooms. So you would play a Kaboom, play a used card dealer for 1, and then get the Kaboom back to your hand, so you get to reuse your Kabooms. Used card dealer, very, very good. I love that card. Hipstar. This is one of the ones I actually have proxied. We don't have a ton of cards here in the office, oddly enough, even though we work here. Once again, most of the cards went out to fans and stores, stuff like that, so we didn't keep a lot for ourselves. In the next wave of boosters, we should be able to get some, though, so I'll be replacing these proxies pretty soon. But Hipstar is really cool. It costs 2 gold, it does 3 damage, and it's 2 life, so already the stat line's really good. And then you can name a card until your opponent's cooldown. Cards with that name cannot be played. So it stops them from playing some of their, if they have a monster that that has been giving you trouble, you can call that. Maybe you're playing against another wizard, you could say you can't play Kaboom or something along those lines. So Hipstar, very good little 3 damage beater. Another 2 cost, Heart of the Cards. Heart of the Cards is a 2 cost for 2 damage and 2 life, so it's okay for 2, but its big ability is it has a flaunt ability, which means you can reveal it from your hand and discard it to do that ability. Deal 2 damage to all heroes, and then discard this. So, again, this similar to Reign of Death I showed you earlier. It's another card that does damage to both me and my opponent. But the whole goal of my deck is to kind of be ahead in the life game, and taking damage is okay if I'm able to finish them off. So if I'm at like 16 life and they're at 18, I could just Heart of the Cards, finish them off, and I'm still alive. So that's useful. And my last monster is Rage in a Cage. Rage in a Cage is a 4 cost, 4 damage and 3 life monster. But the reason it's in here is because when checking for cheating, if there's at least 10 damage on your hero card, reduce the gold cost of this by 2. So I mentioned again, Reign of Death does the damage to me, Heart of the Cards does damage to me. I have issues with fast decks hitting me in the face, so it becomes a really cheap monster that has really good stats. So for 2 gold, I get a 4 damage monster. So despite my reliance on some Mischief cards, I definitely wanted to have a good, solid, at least cheap monster lineup that I could reuse for some reusable damage, because sometimes Mischiefs just aren't enough. So these guys kind of make up that line. The used card dealer is not really for offense, it's more to get those kabooms back, but that's also kind of offensive. So these guys make up the core. And this could change around. I've tried out Goblin Kaboomer and some other guys in the past, so this is probably where the most likely place for it to change, other than my loot, which is next. Loot, I've got Non-Stick Plate. This has been a few different things. I've had it as Non-Stick Plate for a little bit now. Non-Stick Plate is level 1 loot. When you take damage from a monster with a gold cost of 0 or 1, prevent all but 1 of that damage. So that would make something like Lame Goblin only do 1 damage to you instead of 2. Or Goblin Kaboomer only does 1 damage. So this is specifically a metagame call. If you don't know what a metagame is when your local games have developed, like maybe your friends at your kitchen table are playing one particular card like a Plutonium Dragon, and you want to build your deck to beat that. So in our office, we have a few decks that are playing really cheap monsters and hitting us really fast. So I've been playing Non-Stick Plate. You could play any assortment of things there. I had a Spiked Blade for a while, which is a cool little loot that does 2 damage, and when it does damage, it does 1 damage to myself, but it's strong for 1. There's a few locations that do something similar to this, like if you go with the White Brothers dungeon, whenever a monster deals damage to you, the monster would take a damage, so a lot of those cheap monsters would get squished. So there's a couple different options. My favorite of the loot that I have in here, which there's only these, actually there's 3 things, these are only 2 weapons and armor I have, but Staff of Magic. It's a 2 level, 1 damage, 2 defense weapon, and you can zap your hero card, reduce the cost of the next Mischief I'll play by 2. So the normal Mischief ability, or the normal Wizard ability to reduce the cost by 1, this just makes it better. And I could play Kabooms for 3 instead of for 4 or 5. So Staff of Magic's really good. I actually played 3 of them, which might be a little bit of overkill, but I really like to see this card because it's very, very useful in this deck. Right now, this is the most questionable card, I'd say, and that is Purple Ludus. It's not bad. It's Loot Trinket. It costs 0 levels, so I can play it any turn, have as many as I want to play. Zap, take a damage, and take 1 gold and squish this. So essentially, it's one-time use. I could zap it, get a gold, and take a damage. So it does deal damage to me, but as you've seen in the deck, there's a couple ways for me to take advantage of that. But it gets me that extra gold, maybe to get a Kaboom off 1 turn sooner, to get the finisher in. So it's useful. It may come out. It's on the fence, but I like it so far. So that is all of my loot. Not a ton of loot. It's mostly Mischiefs and monsters. Here's some more Mischiefs, but these are the consistency cards, is what I like to call them. Spellception is the first one. I think I have a real one to put on top, just so you can see the real card. Cool. Spellception, it's a Mischief Treachery. It costs 1. look through your deck and choose a treachery card, reveal it, and move it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this lets me search up the kabooms. Might let me search up stuff like Zorch if I need really quick monster removal. But Spellception, great card. I run 3 of those. They're super good. One of them makes the deck really consistent. Got some Blood Geysers, and these actually are mine. I got 3 full arts. Blood Geysers. Blood Geyser costs 3 unless you draw 2 cards. That's already pretty good by itself, but it also has the ability to give blood, so you can take 1 damage to reduce the gold cost by 2, making it cost 1, and then if you use it with the wizard ability, you can make it free to draw 2 cards. Very useful card. Another one like Spellception. This just lets me get through my deck faster, get the stuff I need. And then the last card I run is just Forked. Forked is used when a treachery card is moved to the discard pile, and then you just X equals the gold cost of that treachery card, or that card, and then this is a copy. So essentially I could play, if I'm getting really late in the game and I have a good amount of gold, I could play a kaboom, pay 5 and fork it, so that's 2 kabooms coming at you. Things of that nature. It lets me it kind of usually works as a finisher for the most part, but you could put it in or leave it out. I like it right now, but it's another one that's kind of on the fence for me because it's very situational, but that's why I only run 1 of it. So so that is my deck, guys. That is the wizard for the league. Now, again, I wanted to mention there's no right way to build a deck. I mentioned that in the Bard video as well, so this isn't like the end-all be-all of the wizard. It's just one I've liked playing. I'm curious actually what you guys would play, so if anyone out there is playing wizard, or if you're playing any deck, let us know what you're playing, how you build it. We're curious to see what everyone's playing out there, what everyone's bringing to their local league nights and Munchkin CCG game nights. And we're also going to run a contest in this video. We're going to have a chance to win the organized play kit promos like the Ferrous Oxide Monster, the Blandy McBlanderson Alt Art. All you need to do is comment below with your favorite deck or whatever crazy combo you're coming up with right now. And we'd actually like to know as well, what would you like to see next? We have a couple options. We have the Dwarf Cleric or the Elf Thief. So certain matchups that we've had, that I've personally had trouble with, are both of those. So that's why I wanted to pick one of those 2 next. The the Dwarf Cleric makes the kabooms a little bit worse every time by preventing 1 damage. The Elf Thief can go really fast by drawing a lot of cards. So either of those, just vote below. Also, if you could like the page, that would help us out a lot. And share the video if you get a chance. To enter the contest, all you need to do is like our page and comment below, though. So do that. You'll be entered to win. The contest will end next week, and you can one winner will just win a whole set of the organized play cards from the first organized play kit. So guys, thank you for watching. Vote below. We'll see you next week.